Alright, yo guys, what is good? You've got Techno here, your coach of the Carolina Pantherians, and today we're back with something that I personally think is pretty damn exciting. So, in case anyone is new to the channel, coming from the NPL stuff, first of all, I just want to say hello. Welcome to the channel. Hope you guys will enjoy my content. But second of all, let's just say what we're doing today. So we have here today our NPL Minors Season 5 draft analysis for the Carolina Pantherians, which is my team. And first thing I want to say about this is a big shout out to my man Azar for the new logo that you guys see on the screen right now. It's very sick. I like the old one too, but for now I just want to start using this one, just see which one I end up liking more. Then maybe I'll go back to the other logo. Depends. Who knows? But regardless, here we just have this, and yeah, I'm very excited. So last season we were actually in NPL Minors 2. However, we did end up not making it out of NPL Minors because we did just get added mid-season. So that's unfortunate. However, what can you really do about that? And what this means is I will get to play off against a couple of my new friends, and I don't know what this pop-up's doing. But yeah, a lot of my good friends have been added to this league, so I'm very excited for that this season. And the competition is just more stacked than ever. And whoa, okay, looks like my screen's fucking up. So hopefully that doesn't happen for the rest of the video. But hey, what can you do? So let's just get right into what my team actually is. So just looking over my team and the mons that I decided to pick, I was like looking at in the first round. This was a points-based draft, so we started off with like a mon that probably like would end up costing more points. The max points you could spend on a mon was 18. There were mons like Celesteela, Mew, Mega Mawile. I was trying to remember, like Lando. Both Landos I think were 18 points. Then like Mega Latios, stuff like that. A bunch of different stuff that I could have picked from. But I was like, okay, so for this draft, I'm gonna try to make the best possible team I can out of mons that I want to use. So, like, I don't want to like just go around wasting my time picking mons that I've already used before and like I've already like gotten bored of, and I just want to try out some. Whoops, sorry, I have like this really bad hiccup right now. I just want to try out some new mons and see how that goes from there, and hopefully that can work out well. So the first mon I decided to pick was a mon I've never tried in the league format before, except for like NPL off-season maybe, which didn't really last very long. And I thought that it would be pretty nice to just have this in a full-on league. I thought it would be a pretty nice Pokemon, just to like, trying to like kind of experiment with, and that mon is going to be our Mega Kangaskhan. Now you guys see its name is Straw Pull. It's actually not going to be its name. I'm actually just kind of debating its name. But anyways, besides that, so like the reason I had it as Straw Pull is because I was gonna do a Straw Pull to see like what you guys wanted the nickname to be. However, that's kind of pointless right now. So yeah, Mega Kangaskhan is, in my opinion, probably one of the best megas in Draft League format right now, for a couple of different reasons, and I'm sure that many people agree with me. I know a lot of people actually don't like Mega Kangaskhan, just because, I'll get into that too, but I think that Mega Kangaskhan is still a very nice Pokemon to have. Despite the fact that, okay, so the first thing, the big thing that like makes people like turned off by Kangaskhan is that it's not allowed to have Seismic Toss in this league, which is pretty, I guess, like expected, considering Seismic Toss really just does break Mega Kangaskhan. You get basically 200 damage in HP off every time you go for it, which is absolutely ridiculous, and definitely not competitive at all. So very good for everyone else that Mega Kangaskhan doesn't get Seismic Toss. If it did, it would definitely be the first pick of the draft, and I wouldn't have even gotten it anyways. Speaking of, I was 5th pick, which meant that coming back on the wheel, I was 11th pick. I think I was 11th pick. No, wait, I was 12th pick. Yeah, never mind. Sorry, I can't even do math, but you know what I was doing, and then I just fucked it up. But anyways, yeah, 12th pick coming back on the wheel, and then 5th pick going forward. So, mons that were taken were like Celesteela, Tapu Koko, Mew, and what else was taken? It was something. The first pick was Landorus Incarnate. Right. So overall, I felt like this would be the best mon just to have on my team. People, like I said, they don't like it because of the Seismic Toss not being allowed. However, this thing still boasts incredibly, like, just amazing offense, as well as some really nice defense as well. Sporting 125 attack, even though it's like not the best in the world, with Parental Bond, that actually just Parental Bond actually helps so much, even though it did get nerfed a lot this gen, so you're only 10% now with your baby. it still is just really overwhelming for the opponent in a lot of different ways. Now, what a lot of people say when they see this mon is, oh, well, I should probably just run a Rocky Helmet user. And if your team doesn't have knockoff or like great knockoff users, then Mega Kangaskhan will just not do anything. That's totally false. I wholeheartedly do not believe that. I feel like there's definitely, like, any solid player can play around Rocky Helmet and like know when it's going to come out, make the appropriate doubles, or just make the appropriate plays if you need to with your Kangaskhan. It just gets so many different moves that I can't even get into in the video, like priorities and fake out, sucker punch, moves like just all sorts of different coverage moves. Literally has coverage for everything if you think about it. Especially considering return just hits everything very hard for the most part if it's not resisting, because Mega Kangaskhan is just really good like that, as well as a lot of different support moves like disable, even like sing, good circle throw, a lot of different awesome moves that it can use. So the point is that, like, even if you are feeling weak to Rocky Helmets, it's no reason to not really use Mega Kangaskhan. You can still like check it out, and I think that it will be a pretty good mon on my team, and I'm very excited to actually use it this season. And the name of the Kangaskhan is going to be MILF Mayoran, after my good pal Mayo. Because he needs a mon nicknamed after him. He's an Aussie, and this thing is also an Aussie, considering it is a kangaroo. So, you know what? Why not? Anyways, let's move into the next mon. So, for the next mon on my team, I was like, okay, I want something that can help me get momentum, help me clear out Kangaskhan's immediate fighting weakness, just because I want to support Kangaskhan as well as I can, and I also want a defogger, stuff like that. I want just a lot of different mons, a lot of different things that could be fit into one Pokemon, and that is why I decided to pick up Zapdos. Now, Zapdos is a very solid Pokemon. You guys can see the nickname right here. If you don't get the nickname, I'm not going to explain it to you. But Zapdos is a mon that I'm very excited to use this season, just because it's honestly one of the best electric types and defoggers in the entire game. Really lucky to get it round 2. I feel like it can easily go round 1 or like very early round 2, but it actually went to me 12th pick round 2, which is very solid considering that Zapdos is the mon that it is. Reliable recovery and roost, Volt Switch, Heat Wave, great hidden power abilities, pressure and static, 2 very good abilities to have on this thing, as well as obviously defog. This thing also gets every type of momentum gainer in the game: Volt Switch, U-turn, and Baton Pass, which is really great. So yeah, Zapdos is definitely a very impressive Pokemon in terms of that. Just super nice to have on the team, as well as just like to complement out my Mega Kangaskhan, because this thing also helps like lure in steel types and stuff like that, or like beat down steel types just because of the way that it is. And yeah, that's definitely why I like Zapdos on this team. So I'm very excited to use Zapdos. Not a Zmon. I feel like it could have been a Zmon, but I ultimately decided that no, I would end up making some of my other mon Zmons, because we did have 25 points in Zmons, and if I did pick this as Zapdos, I would have to pick a 10-point Zmon, because you guys can see it is 15 points, but it's just the way it is. So yeah, that's about it for Zapdos. Base 100 speed. I have 2 base 100 speed mons, which is okay, because I can always just fill in that speed tier later, so that's all totally cool. And yeah, super excited to use Zapdos this season. So the next mon I had was something that I was debating picking later in the draft. However, I feel like with the current state of the meta of Draft League, just the way it's been going, I think that this Pokemon is just like an absolutely incredible mon that I can't really pass up. I feel like it does complement my team very well, and it's definitely rising in popularity. So without further ado, my next mon is going to be Greninja. Now, big thing out of the way, unfortunately this is Torrent Greninja, so I don't have 2 ban-worthy, quote-unquote ban-worthy Pokemon on my team, because obviously other Greninjas are banned. Torrent is the only usable one, because Protean and Battle Bond, though they are acceptable and like overused and stuff in Draft League, they're kind of really pushed over the edge, so definitely understandable. But regardless, Torrent Greninja actually is very solid for what it does. Same moves as the other 2, so really nice coverage, as well as the fact that first of all, Torrent is not even a bad ability. If you get low enough, and Greninja is pretty frail, so it definitely probably can, then you just hit off like really hard with water type moves, as well as the fact that this thing doesn't have the worst special attack in this game. Like, I think it has I want to say 105 special attack, which it's not great, but it's actually like okay. With Life Orb and other boosting moves, you kind of like have that support that you need, as well as the fact that it is my Z user, one of them, so that's really nice. As well as the fact that this thing has amazing speed, 122, so it hits 377, I'm pretty sure, with max speed, so that's always really nice to have on my team. So Greninja is overall just a really solid pick. Another reason I drafted it is because I feel like with Mega Kangaskhan you want at least one Toxic Spike user, just because Mega Kangaskhan is just so fat, and access to Wish and stuff that it gets is so amazing. And sorry my arrow's on the screen, but yeah, that's just how I felt about Mega Kangan. This thing obviously does do a pretty good job at getting up Toxic Spikes and Spikes and stuff like that. So yeah, basically in essence, Greninja is just a very good Pokemon, and I'm very excited to have it on my team. I just feel like it will definitely support the team a lot, and yeah, so that's obviously a really nice pick. I think I mentioned it got U-turn, but if I didn't, U-turn's also really nice, as well as the fact that Zapdos and Greninja both deal with a lot of mons very well. So, looking at my next pick, what I was like thinking about was, okay, so I probably want something that's just really, really powerful, really bulky, as well as like a heal bell user. Also, a fairy wouldn't be that bad. I just felt like that would also be really nice for my team, considering I don't have any dragon resist yet, or dragon immunities. So I decided that I would end up picking up my girl Sylveon, or actually my guy fairy. By the way, if you guys didn't know, my last nickname is a South Park reference, but it turns out that there's actually a guy named Clyde Frog in the Pokemon community. So I was like, hey, you want this mon named after you? You got it. But yeah, we got Guy Fairy. If you don't get the reference or the joke, then you need to go to Flavor Town. But Guy Fairy Sylveon is a very, very solid Pokemon just to have on my team. Like I said, the Fairy typing is always really amazing to have. It's basically a necessity at this point, ever since it came out in Gen 6, and it just makes Sylveon like such a nice mon, as well as Pixelate. Pixelate's just such a great ability. Getting off Pixelate boosted Hyper Voices with any boosting items, even like non-boosting items, is amazing. I'm pretty sure this thing has 110 special attack, I want to say. Yeah, that's a special attack. And getting off Hyper Voices with specs, with modest, with anything, because you're already like pretty naturally bulky. Even though your defense isn't the best, it's still alright enough, and your special defense is really good. So Sylveon just does that really well, and just breaks through so much shit. And I think the specs is probably like its best set, just in terms of the mon that it is. However, I feel like also like it's still like not even bad defensively. It's actually really good defensively. Can come in on a lot of different dragons and stuff, and just it does the stuff that like mons like Florgus does. But this thing also gets like Baton Pass, which is really nice, as well as I guess just a lot of different coverage, which like mons like Florgus don't. And that's just what I feel like puts it over the edge. This thing also gets Calm Mind, really, really nice to have, especially like Calm Mind Pass. I think I can Calm Mind Pass. I'm like pretty sure I can. If not, then I've misled everybody. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I can Calm Mind Pass with this thing, which is gonna be pretty cool if I can do that. Maybe I'll bring it 1 week, who knows. But yeah, Sylveon's overall just a really nice Pokemon. I thought it would be really nice with my team, and so far I'm liking the structure of my team. So one thing I actually didn't notice at this point in the draft was my lack of rocks, and I'm just gonna apologize right now, because you guys are gonna see I don't actually notice it until much later in the draft, where I end up picking up my rockers, but you guys will see. Anyways, so the next mon I picked was going to be something that I wanted to help fill in that 328, 377 speed tier that I kind of had going on. And what I ultimately decided was that I would pick up something with 361 speed. I could have picked up a base 110 mon, but I felt like this mon also did a lot better on my team, as well as the fact that I have not used this thing I don't think in Draft League at all. And I think that this thing is a very nice Pokemon, and I really wanted to try it. So the next Pokemon that I decided to pick is going to be, I used it in tournaments and stuff, never mind, but like never in like a real league. So I decided to pick up Zygarde 10%. Now this thing is an amazing Pokemon that's, I feel like it's like criminally underrated. 110 attack and 115 speed is just so solid. 110 isn't the best attack, however 1000 arrows is like one of the best offensive moves in the game, just because nothing really wants to come in, considering it has no like flying types can't come in on it, and so that also means that whenever a flying type does come in, then I'm able to ground that, and that's always really nice. So I'm on like Skarmory, even though it can come in and take a neutral hit, it gets grounded, and then it can take another hit. So Skarm, Celesteela, all those mons that are like, I guess, would do better versus dragons. Really nice to not have to deal with them that much with Zygarde. This thing is obviously much more frail than its counterpart, which is the Zygarde Zygarde 50 and then Zygarde 100, which is not allowed for obvious reasons. However, this thing does also have a lot more speed, which makes it pretty nice in its own right, so that's totally fine. You guys are going to see it's named Lesser Dog. That is referenced based on my Hive Zygarde, which is named Greater Dog, which is a Zygarde 50%. So there's that. You guys should check out my Hive content too, and my other friends' Hive content. But anyways, this thing also gets really nice Extreme Speed priority. Extreme Speed is just a really nice priority move. So right now, I'm looking pretty good for priority. I have Fake Out, Sucker Punch with Kang. I've got Water Shuriken with Greninja. I've got, I guess, Quick Attack with Sylveon, even though I'm never going to run that except for like maybe as like a last slot on like a spec set or something. And then I've got our Zygarde right here, which has nice Extreme Speed priority. And then this thing is also one of my Z users, which is really, really solid. I felt like having a Z user with Zygarde is amazing, considering that it can just Dragon Dance up and possibly just run through an entire team with Z support. So I really like that about Zygarde. I think that it kind of makes it like a lot better of a Pokemon just to have Z on it, even though it is still pretty good without Z. So we'll just see how much I use it this season. And yeah, that's going to be our Zygarde. So looking at this team so far, I'm really liking it. I'm liking its offensive structure. However, now I'm starting to want some more defensive Mons. I was looking for Mons like Tapu Bulu and Nihilego. They got sniped, so I ended up picking like Sylveon. And then I also picked like Zygarde and just like all that stuff that I wanted to pick like a little bit like earlier, but I just didn't. I couldn't, and then I just got sniped on them. And I don't regret picking Greninja early. I feel like it definitely would have been sniped if I didn't pick it. So very glad that I did get it round 3. But regardless, what I'm feeling now is that I kind of want to have a more bulky grass type on my team. Just because it will be nice, as well as like having a nice poison. So there are a couple of Mons you can look at in that category, but ultimately the best of them is probably going to be Amoonguss, Mr. Hat, another South Park reference, which I don't even know. But yeah, this thing is a very awesome Pokemon to have. Now I feel like this thing, Amoonguss, was very, very solid in Gen 6, like one of the best grass Pokemon in Gen 6, and unfortunately I feel like it has kind of fallen off ever since, but it's still got its charm, still got its perks, still having Spore, nice defensive stats, which its defensive stats are mediocre, but its HP is what really makes it shine. I just hit my mic, sorry, got a new mic, kind of still getting used to it, but anyways, my bad. Yeah, I feel like these defensive stats and its HP are what really kind of makes it shine, so I'm very happy about that, and I feel like Amoonguss is still a very solid Pokemon to have. Having Foul Play, Spore, which is I've already said, because Spore is probably its best move. Just being able to put something to sleep guaranteed. Maybe getting in one of my better Pokemon like my Kangaskhan or my Greninja, or like anything else on my team pretty much. Yeah, that's really all there is to say about Amoonguss. It's a grounded poison, which means that toxic spikes will be absorbed by it, which is amazing. So I have a ground type and a grounded poison, which are both very nice to have, and they're just gonna see how I can do with those from there on out. Regenerator is also a really nice ability, because you can come in, you can be a pivot, and then you can just get out, go into something else that you want to, and yeah, it just makes Regenerator really nice for this thing. So yeah, that's going to be Amoonguss. Very excited to use it, and I hope that it does work for my team. So for my next pick, I was like, okay, so now I have this kind of core thing going on. I've got my Spike Setter, and now I'm like, okay, well maybe I want to like Spin Blocker as well as like another water type, because Greninja is not really a very good water type defensively. It's a great water type offensively, one of the best, but defensively as a bulky water, it's definitely not all there. So I decided instead I would pick up Jellicent, which will be nicknamed North's Daddy. So this thing is, I've actually never used this thing, and I know that a lot of people have used it. A lot of people have been like alright using it, and I've never used it. I've just never like gotten around to using it. I've always felt like there are other like better picks to have. However, I feel like in this draft, this thing is pretty good for me. Just having this nice Jellicent is really nice, as well as the fact that, first of all, this thing does synergize very well with Mons like Sylveon, Mons like Zygarde. So Zygarde, Jellicent, and Sylveon are very nice together, just as a core. This is another fighting check I have on my team. As you guys can see, I have all these fighting checks for my Kangaskhan. No, don't even mind. That was just an inside joke with my friends. Yeah, so people in the Hive. So Water Absorb is a very nice ability on this thing. I feel like it's definitely what makes it really like one of the most solid it's not really one of the most solid bulky waters in my opinion. I think there could be some better, but I think that it is still a pretty solid bulky water. And I could have gotten a bulky water with rocks, but it just kind of slipped my mind at the time, and I just ended up getting Jellicent anyways. Jellicent and Amoonguss is a pretty fine core, in my opinion. Both, they kind of just help like tank each other's hits. And I was like, okay, so for my next pick, I'm going to want something that could also help me out with this core. Zapdos, Amoonguss, and Jellicent is a very solid core overall. But there's still some things that it can be kind of weak to, so I want to help patch that out. And I felt like the perfect mon to patch that out, and the perfect mon to appeal to what I want to use on my team is going to be Buzzwole. Now, this is a Pokemon that I absolutely adore. I just love Buzzwole so much. I think that it's like criminally underrated in the Draft League format, and that's saying something because it's actually pretty highly praised. Now Buzzwole, I think one of the main things that people think it like really doesn't have going for it is its special defense and its flying 4x weakness. And while that is true, there's still definitely a lot of different things that this thing can do. First of all, special defense, it's not great, but it's not that bad. It's pretty bad. Don't get me wrong, but it could definitely be worse. And especially with its very high HP stat, which is over base 100, it's really nice. Now this thing also has 139 attack and 139 defense, which is very, very solid defensive and offensive stats, which mean that you can like get up sobs versus a lot of things and just pressure the opponent, because this thing doesn't really have many switch-ins in general, especially with toxic spikes. So Buzzwole, I feel like is also like a really good scarfer. It does a lot of mons. Pretty dirty, especially like more offensive teams, they just get destroyed by Scarf Buzzwole most of the time. So that's one of the reasons I just love Buzzwole. Second of all, this thing just looks freaking awesome. Look at it. It's a fucking like, it's this jacked up fucking bug dude, and I just love it. Like ever since I saw it come out in game and I saw it like flexing for the freaking like flexing like there's no other mon that just straight flexes on its opponent when it dies. But yeah, that being said, Buzzwole is a great Pokemon, and I'm very excited to have it on my team. Access to Roost as well is also really nice. Just thought I mentioned that. But yeah, so now we're gonna move into our next Pokemon, which will be our first rocker, which is Steelix. So I decided that this thing would be my best low tier rocker, just considering that I don't have any other rockers on this draft, which was definitely a mistake, but I feel like I should be fine without them. This thing's nice because its ability to wall nice higher tier threats is very solid, as well as the fact that it can get sturdy, which basically means that it's pretty much guaranteed rock, as well as it's like a nice steel type, which I really like. So this thing is going to be a mon that I can bring to a lot of games and not have to worry about too much, so that's something I'm very excited about. So Steelix is going to be a very nice member on the team. Next mon we have is going to be our Cryogonal. So Cryogonal is a great Pokemon. I feel like it got even better this gen with the addition of its extra defensive stats, which I really love. And so, very excited to be using Cryogonal. Now, this thing also is a very nice rapid spinner, a defogger. Base 105 is a nice speed tier, so that I am able to now not... Alright, sorry, my mic cut out, but yeah, now that its defensive stat has been increased, it means that I am able to now like take a lot better defensive hits. Special defense is also very, very nice. Not even bad special attack with 95 base. So very excited to use this mon. I feel like it's a very nice mon as a low tier spinner. Nice for my speed tiers, nice for just being an ice type. And as for the last mon I picked is going to be Incineroar. Now the reason I have this mon is because I felt like I kind of wanted a fire type on my team just cause. And the fact that this thing is a nice knock user, it's also very nice. Not really much to say about this thing. It's just bulky, gets really nice stabs. U-turn and Earthquake are also very, very nice on it. As like other moves. Then if this thing got Intimidate, oh, it would just be so much better. But and also just like a little bit more speed. But what can you really do about that? So sorry about rushing my last couple of picks, which just kind of in a rush. But yeah, so this is my NPL minors draft. Overall, I'm pretty satisfied with it. I feel like I could get more rockers, which I'll probably free agent for. So look out for that. But otherwise, this has been my NPL draft analysis. Very excited for the season. Hope that we will be able to pick up some wins. And yeah, we'll just see you guys next time with my team. So see you.